Warning, the following program is designed for casual wrestling fans and is meant purely for entertainment. If you're SAWFT, proceed at your own risk. Viewer discretion is advised.
Brother, I'm going run a wild Hulk Hogan. If all I get's a moment, I'll make sure it's an explosion. Cause lately I've been seeing stars, trying to kick out on this chokehold. But it's no holds barred, middle fingers like I'm Stone Cold.
What is up, everybody? It is your boy WeTooDeep, and I'm back with another episode of the Slap and Meat Wrestling Podcast, Friday edition. For those who may be new to the channel, I do a Friday episode of the show every week, but on Tuesdays, me and my co-host DJ Wavy D, we sit down and we talk wrestling from a more casual, semi-casual perspective. Not fully casual. We are, I've even said that at one point I would consider myself a hardcore fan. When I got back into wrestling, I got in deep into wrestling. Like, what more proof do you need to know that I got in deep than I bought, some books, that I just have sitting here. I've never picked any, like, I bought them, never read them. I've never read these books yet, right? I don't plan on reading them, to be honest with you. They're just going to be little decoration pieces now. Like, maybe I have opinions on the subject matters, but I don't care to learn, necessarily. I may pick them up if I get bored. But the point is that I used to be, so when I feel like I have this unique perspective where I can talk about wrestling in the casual perspective while also understanding the hardcore point of view, because I've been there, right? And then with that, I think it means that I can have a better understanding of the topic, right? But if you're also new to the program, it's a good episode to start because we are changing the Friday episode format. So typically what the Friday episode format was just a chance for me to talk wrestling and sort of give my opinion. But what I want it to be, what I want this to grow into, is a little bit more than just, because I'm aiming for the casual fan base. 2 episodes a week on pure wrestling may not be interesting enough. So I want to try something. And if this doesn't work, we'll change it back to just talking wrestling. But I want to talk about some pop culture and now, like sports and stuff like that. Now, I'll just be plain on honest with you. I'm not, in the know with what's like popular, right? So I'm gonna need you guys to send me like topics, because a lot of this is just gonna be like ranking fast food restaurants or ranking actors and actresses. Like today's topic, my top 10 film series or universes or right? And I got some qualifications for that. Right. And so, with that, we're going to try this out. We're going to see if this works, see what you guys like. But before we get to that conversation, we got to discuss the Thirsty Tuesday results. They are in. We have winners from Tuesday. For those who are, again, if you're new, Thirsty Tuesday, something me and Wavy D do on the Tuesday episode. It's sort of a bracket type thing. We have the Discord that we have vote, link in the description for the Discord. And we basically do like a baddie, Discord votes to see who moves on. But anyway, let me just pull up this bracket because we're into the second round right? And so this time around, for those who may be new and don't understand, I chose 16 competitors. Wavy D chose 16 competitors, right? So let's start on the top right of the bracket. If you're looking at the screen, you got Antonia Gentry versus Margot Robbie. Those are both Team Wavy D, right? He basically had to sacrifice one for the other, right? And so Margot Robbie did win that vote. The other three, that yesterday afternoonish were tied. The main one, the queen of the casuals, Kara, came in and just tied it up, right, for these other three matches. So I'm open, transparent. If you go to the Discord, you'll see this. So I did a coin flip. And essentially in my head, now I didn't tell anyone in the Discord this, but these coin flips are only going to be useful if when I sat down at this time to record and it was still tied. But I wanted to be open and transparent about the process, so I recorded it, and the results were the same, right? So, the Livy Dunn matchup in the bottom left, right? Livy versus Bella Thorne, complete blowout. Livy Dunn stole that race. She, like we assumed, she won, right? The other three were actually the tiebreakers, or the ones that were needed a tiebreaker, and the only one that results are changed because we did have a last minute vote by Dead Chef. Shout out to him. He came in, he voted. His voice is just as equal as everyone else. The rules have always been you have till Friday when I start to record this episode. So I had to keep along with the rules, even though it hurts me because Addison Rae won the coin flip, but Dead Chef voted for Ruby Rose. I can't sort of like disenfranchise his vote there. So Ruby Rose moves on. That's a Wavy D pick, right? Now on the other side, Livy Dunn's my pick, blew away, best competitor of the week, right? Just ran away with it. Kind of expected, right? But we got to talk about the top left. I don't know what it is about my Discord, right? When me and Wavy D were sitting down and talking about this exact matchup, I stated if Haley Welsh wasn't mine, right? If she wasn't my pick, on my team, right? I would 100% vote for Sabrina Carpenter, right? I don't know what it is about this Discord, but they love Haley Welsh for whatever. Maybe it's, recency bias and all of that. But, oh boy. Haley Welsh won in another upset. She's now taken down Carrie Hilston, which Wavy D gave an honest interpretation of that. Probably is because Carrie Hilston's sort of aged out of the demographic that listens to the show, right? Or is in the Discord. But Sabrina Carpenter, she's my generation, right? Guys, this changes the game, right? If we look at the current board we have now, this changes the game because the top two hitters on his team were Sabrina Carpenter and Sydney Sweeney, and they're both gone, right? This changes the game. It's good. So you see the other four quarterfinal spots that are open. Those will be next Tuesday's matchup. So y'all get ready for that one. And, but yeah, it's shocking to me. To me for sure. So let's get back to the what we want to talk about today, right? So I'm still going to talk about wrestling. So I got two topics I want to talk about when it comes to wrestling. Understanding that probably after this, the hardcore wrestling fans that may tune into this probably going to tune out after it. That's fine. But the first thing I want to talk about is Trevor Mann, also known to the wrestling world as Ricochet. Someone needs to take this man's phone. He's worse than Tony Khan. So I got three possibilities that explain his most recent Twitter outbreak, his Twitter outrage. The first one, more so a joke, but it could be a possibility. He found Tony's secret stash of yayo, of the bump. he's really putting a new definition on taking a bump, and he sort of went into a coke-induced rage and just started tweeting. Hey, if that's the case, I can forgive him for that one. He was under the influence of, and we got to tell Tony to hide his stash, right? That's not what happened, though. That's not what happened at all. The second is he's having buyer's remorse. What do I mean by buyer's remorse? He bought into the fairy tale that he was going to be some superstar in AEW, and he went over there and less people like him. He loses his fame that he had in WWE. Less people like him, more people, right? That's not what happened. That's not what caused this. What caused this is he's a soft little baby back bitch. And let's just call it for what it is. Let's call balls and strikes here. He's a soft little baby back bitch. Him and Sam Irvin. Soft little baby back bitches. Right? Trevor. I'm going to address you by your government name. Trevor. Put the phone down. Stop replying to haters. That's what the internet is for. You have trolls on it. You don't have to respond to them. Right? Let's just talk the facts of the case, though. Ricochet, no one cared that you went to AEW. People like me thought you belonged in AEW. Right? Because of your style. Like, I'm 100% happy you're at where you're happy. Right? Be happy. Go chase your happiness. That's fine. But let's just get the facts straight. We didn't turn on Sam because she left. We didn't turn on you because she left. We turned on you because you guys started making accusations and talking at the side of your faces and started telling the fans to go fuck themselves. And so that's why you have less fans today. Because you showed your real self on Twitter and in interviews and talking about, you know, all the, like, Sam had a clear exit out. Everyone had her on the top of the game. She was the best, if not top three, right? Top three, if not the best announcers of all time in WWE. But then she started running her mouth trying to answer haters and trolls. And that's why the general public lost respect for the both of you, because y'all started answering these trolls and y'all started speaking out the side of your mouth some ignorant shit. No one hates you because you left WWE. Right? That's the fact of the matter. So the fact that Ricochet comes out here and goes off on the fans in this induced rage of just nonsense, right? Let's read these tweets. These are straight from his X account. Got them straight from X. These aren't anything like I haven't messed with these in any way, shape, or form. In fact, let me send these over to my computer real quick from my phone. I'm gonna put them on the screen. That way y'all can see these things. That I ain't fucking with them. Right? May take me a minute to get this pulled up, so give me a second. If you're listening on audio, thank you for tuning in. I do appreciate it. But you may want to, if you want to take a look at these tweets, you're going to have to go over to the video on YouTube. With that, let's pull these up here. That's not working. Let's see here. Yep, this is what happens when you do things on the fly. This may not work. We're going to try one more time. Here it is. Here it is. Perfect. All right. Let me make sure y'all can see this. There it is. All right. I'm going to go back over here real quick so I can scroll through the different tweets. This, when I say rampage, like, I'm not lying to you. So it's really funny to me how a lot of people used to love me under the tutelage of WWE. But the moment I jump ship to another company, they turn their back on me. Like, why? I don't get it. I'm the same fucking person I was in and outside of WWE. Who the fuck are you? So let's respond to each individually, right? So let's respond to this one. Like, I've already actually responded to this one. Ricochet. No one is hating you as a person, right? Not that I have seen, right? It's more so just we've seen the real you, right? If that's what we want to call it, right? We've seen the real you on the inside, right? Right. And I lost my screen share again. That's wonderful. No, I didn't. It's right here. Here it is. All right. And the next one, like, God forbid I want to expand my horizons and try other things. Yeah, I really shouldn't care about others' opinions, but this shit tilts me in a way I can't describe. It's like some Joker bullshit. Bro, like, what are you talking about right now? This is why I believe he may have gotten into Tony's secret stash. He talking about things that, like, Ricochet, no one's telling you can't go and expand your horizons. We just want you to shut the fuck up about it. Like, you're defending yourself and you're only digging that hole deeper, man. Right? Next one. I used to wrestle, to be honest, independent scene. I don't even understand what. I used to wrestle, to be honest, independent scene before I signed a blood deal with Vince. We'll talk about that wording in a minute. I was universally beloved before and after I signed. So what changed? Is it AEW? You can say AEW is a stain on the industry all you want, but this is the company that's actually accepted me as for who I am, a pro wrestler, and the best at that. So first thing, it's a blood deal, bro. You got to travel the world, man. I hate this idea that people call this a blood deal with Vince. You didn't have to sign it. It wasn't like Vince was holding the contract over your head and he was going to murder you if you didn't sign it. You chose this deal, my dude. It's not a blood deal. It's not that you went to AEW, right? This app is filled with the most brain-rotted dumbasses. And notice he puts in parentheses WWE shills. Then I'm seriously consider leaving this fuck shit app. Like, the toxicity can't be. First off, I'm not even going to finish reading this, right? Bro, leave. You don't, bro, this isn't an airport. You don't have to announce your departure. If you don't want to be on the app, that's fine. It's funny how it's only the WWE shills, though, that create toxicity, right? This is why I know Tony Khan helped him write this or put it in his head that, hey, you should probably say this, right? Because it's not just the WWE shows that create toxicity. It's the AEW ones as well. Right, so let's call balls and strikes here, Trevor. Right, you used to, and now talking about his wife, right? You used to fucking simp for this woman on a regular basis, but now she wants to go do her own thing. She's this big evil woman when the most evil of men constantly sexualize her here and on Instagram. And before, quote, she constantly thirst traps. Fuck off. Laughing my ass off, you fall for them. Okay, first off, Ricochet, what the fuck? Again, no one hates Sam because she wants to do her own thing. We don't like Sam. We have a different opinion on Sam now because she responded to trolls and basically tried to gaslight us into saying that she didn't like what she was doing and that she left because they wouldn't let her be a manager and shit. Like, WWE has the responsibility to do whatever the fuck you want to do. You work for them, big dog. Right? And yeah, there are simps out there for Sam Irving. Absolutely. I think she's attractive. She's not like drop dead gorgeous. Like, I wouldn't pick her. Like, if you put like all the women in WWE, she wouldn't be the first pick. She wouldn't be the second. She probably wouldn't be the third. Probably wouldn't be the fourth. But it wouldn't be like, nah, I'm going to pass on you. There's a couple in WWE I'd be like, nah, you're not even going to be picked. Right? We're looking at like Shayna and Zoe. Right? Natalia probably wouldn't be picked. Sam would be picked. It would just be like round 13. Right? And let's close this one out. The last one here. So anyways, for the cretins who randomly started opposing me, hell, even the people that supported me throughout, no matter what, go fuck yourself. I don't try. Right? So now you're telling all of your fans. You're telling all of your fans and all the people who like you. And maybe you're just questioning some motives as to why you're continuing to argue with fucking trolls. You're going to go tell them again to go fuck themselves. And Trevor, if that's how you're going to talk to people, bro, you ain't going to get past the indies with that language, dude. Right? So this is what the WWE ID system was created for, to prevent this. Right? I forgot who I saw share it, but essentially the idea is they're going to indie events and they're going quick. They're doing like every single indie show. It feels like, not everyone, but like every single weekend, it feels like there's 5 or 10 people added to this program. I don't like that aspect. If you're going to do like 5 people every weekend, you're going to expand this thing too big. But again, the reason they're doing that is because these aren't actual contracts. These are just, hey, we're looking at you. We're going to give you the access to potentially get a contract down the line, right? We're gonna put you in the express lane to get a contract. But what they're working through, outside of just the ring stuff, is they want to try to prevent another situation similar to like Jacob Fatu, right? Where Jacob Fatu had a criminal past before he got into wrestling. Right? And WWE now had to work around getting him into some of these places. And places like Canada and stuff, right? And this idea is to get you not just to being the best in the ring and on the mic, but into being a professional, right? It's to prepare you for the rest of the business that no one ever thinks about. Being a professional, right? How do you respond to questions and interviews? How do you, right? You may have a criminal past in your hit, right? But you're a very good wrestler, and we're willing to take a look at you, even with your criminal past. But what are you doing to mediate for that criminal past so that we can take you to these Saudi Arabias we're going to do a lot of shows overseas, right? We want you to be a part of that. What are you doing to make sure you could be there, right? Is there anything stopping you, from getting a passport that can get you in any one of these countries, right? And it's giving people opportunities to not do what Trevor Mann is doing, right? Because if Ricochet was in the Indies now and wasn't never in WWE, I'm 100% certain he's not, and he responds this way. Pretty Ricky, boy. But calm it down. Move on to the next topic. We got to talk about these ticket prices, WWE. I know Junkyard James did this with AEW a few weeks ago on his show Beyond the Junkyard. We really got to talk about these prices. We got to talk about them, right? Nosebleeds at Lucas Oil Stadium for Royal Rumble pre-sale at like $150 before the fees. So after the fees, it could be $170, it could be $200. I'm not even kidding. I've seen wrestling tickets that I've bought before where the seat price was, these were nosebleeds, where the seat price were like $50 and the fees to the damn things were more than the tickets. I've seen events where, right, so it just depends on a lot of different factors in terms of the fees. You got the Ticketmaster fee, which is the biggest one, but you also have like processing fees and stuff that comes from the arena as well, so they can make their money. So this depends on but I mean, you're talking like $200-$300, because you got to think, not everyone that's going to be at Royal Rumble is going to be from Indianapolis, right? So I was planning on maybe looking at the casual wrestling community Discord. We've been talking about like WrestleMania, right? And it's one of those things where, like, WrestleMania, first off, it's 26 hours by car away from where I live in Las Vegas, but it's also the price of hotel and flight, and you're going to need to be there for 4 days. So how are you going to eat? And everything's motherfucking expensive out there, right? Gas and all of that shit, right? And if the price is just, more than likely I won't be there, right? It is what it is. It's just the name of the game, right? We broke. We so po, we can't afford the second O and the R in this little area. So if y'all would like to support, let me know. If someone wants to drop 50 racks on me right now, that'll be very grateful. But yeah, when you talk about these prices, and I've made this statement over the last couple of years, but they're pricing out the common fan. They're pricing out the hardcore workers who bust their ass 40, 50, 60 hours a week to take care of their family. And maybe every now and then when wrestling's in town, they want to just take their. That's why some of these indie shows are the only thing they watch, because they could go to an indie show on a Friday night once a month, or a Saturday or Sunday afternoon once a month for $25 general admission, and still get the similar type content. Like the one out here near me, AML, I feel, anytime I go there, it feels like I'm watching like actual, like WWE style, with just lower budget equipment in terms of like microphones and music and stuff like that, right? But it's, some of these names are could be in the big leagues, I believe. Right. And so that's part of the reason, right? Out where I live, right? Where people bust their ass now, right? And all of that shit just to take care of their family. They can't afford, Monday Night Raw is coming back. I look every time they drop tickets, right? And if you've been a fan of WWE long enough, you understand they drop tickets for a quarter at a time. What I mean by a quarter is 3 months at a time. And they announce the cities and they start the pre-sales about halfway through the current quarter, right? So what do I mean by that? So first quarter 2025 is January, February, March, right? Those tickets just went on pre-sale this week. But what month are we in? We're in November. We're halfway through November. We're technically halfway through quarter 4 of 2024, right? And so these ticket sales, they do two things. It's to jack up the prices at the end of the year or the end of the quarter so it looks good, right? You get more sales that way. But it also pre-sales allow people to go buy them. But anyway, they've released quarter 1 2025 tickets, and Charlotte gets a Monday Night Raw. Now, Monday Night Raw is pretty ass right now, right? It's the road to WrestleMania, though. It's February 7th, so it's the Monday Night Raw 2 weeks, I believe. There's no way it's February 7th, because Royal Rumble's February 1st. Let me actually pull up. I know it's February. Let me pull up the actual February 17th. I knew there was 7 in it. February 17th, which will be 2 weeks after Royal Rumble. Yeah, it's the third Raw after Royal Rumble, right? So you're building towards, if there's there is an elimination chamber, right? It's going to be in it's overseas, right? Elimination chamber is going to be overseas. I feel like I remember that they announced elimination chamber is going to be overseas. I just can't remember where. Toronto. God, they go to Canada a lot. Okay, that's what I figured. So, yeah, so it's going to be on the road to elimination chamber in Toronto. And that's going to be on March 1st. Damn. Yeah, so that's 2 weeks before, or so the go home show for elimination chamber is the 24th of February, so it's the week before that, before elimination chamber. So it's probably going to, consist of qualifying matches for the chambers, right? Is what most of that show is probably, right? And so it's going to be a decent event, I would assume, right? Well, I go on to look at tickets, right? And I've sat at, this is at the Hornets Arena if you're a basketball fan. It's at the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, the Hornets Arena. So if you've ever watched a Hornets game, a Hornets home game, you've sort of seen the arena, right? I've sat in the nosebleeds before. I've sat up there. They're not good seats. You can't see jack shit. So yeah, those are going for $40 plus fees. So you're going to end up paying like $60, $70 to sit all the way at the fucking roof. Right? To get a decent, like, lower bowl seat is going to run you $160, $170, and that's even at the top of that level. Right? We got to talk about these ticket prices, WW. You can't families can't go to these events and drop. That's one ticket, dude. Right? If families want to go, right, they're going to end up having to drop like $400, depending on the size of the family, right? So let's just assume it's mom, dad, and 2 kids, because that's your typical American family, right? Mom, dad, 2 kids. Just to sit in the nosebleeds where they can't see nothing, assuming the fees bring you to around $60, you're still dropping $60, $120, $180, $240. You're dropping $240 just to get into the arena. Now you got to buy food to feed your kids, and that's expensive. You got to buy the merch to please your kids, and that's right. You dropping, for Monday Night Raw, right? Royal Rumble I could kind of understand because of I've always said for like an event like Royal Rumble, you're paying for the full experience, right? Of being at Royal Rumble, right? So $150 for a nosebleed at Lucas Oil is a little bit high, but like completely understandable, right? But like these Monday Night Raws are getting out of hand, my dude. Like I can't, like I try to go to as many of them as I can, but some of us can't afford this shit, right? And I only complain about it because it actually affects me. Like this isn't me trying to like white knight, but this actually affects me as a fan of the product who wants to go see a live show every now and then. I'll be honest with you, I'm not dropping $80 to go sit in the nosebleeds. I'm not dropping $180 just to get a decent seat when I can watch the same show for free and I get commentary, which is one of my favorite parts of watching wrestling because that's what actually tells the story. So I'm 100% fine sitting on my couch or in this chair on that TV that's behind me watching Monday Night Raw. Not going. I don't have fear of missing out, whatever the fuck that shit's called. I don't have any of that. I've been to WrestleMania. I've been to Night of Champions. I've been to Raws and SmackDowns. I've got the experience, right? So I don't have any fear of missing anything. I think for the common fan, to sort of advocating for the common fan, y'all are starting to price them out, and you're also starting to. What you're doing is you could justify pricing them out because an event like WrestleMania is like in a Royal Rumble are the only events we are going to start getting on American soil. And so you could say American PLEs are now unique and special, and so now we can raise the prices for them, right? They're rare, so there's a higher demand, right? And you're manipulating the market that way. Not a big fan of that, right? But that's the business side of the business. I'm not a big fan of Endeavor. I'll just be honest with you. I'm pretty sure I've made that known, though. I'm not a big fan of Endeavor, because all they care about at the end of the day is the bottom dollar, and so you'll get people like Baron Corbin who don't get extended because they don't see a purpose for him being there, right? But anyway, let's move on to the new format, right? Let's stop the wrestling talk there. Let's move on to the new format. And before we break in, we're going to start with the pop culture stuff, right? Talk about my top 10 movie series. But before we get there, I want to talk about 2 TV shows that I've just, that I've been watching. One of them I just started watching, just finished the first season. Can't wait for season 2 to come out. So let's just stop right there. Let's just sound the alarm. There's going to be spoilers. Let's do it again. Spoiler warning. Spoilers. There are going to be spoilers for these 2 shows, and that's Outer Banks and the show called based off a true story. So one more time for the people in the back who didn't hear the first 2 times. Spoilers. It's cool when you find little tricks on this website that I'm using that I didn't know I could do before. That's awesome. Spoilers again, if in case you didn't hear it. Let's talk about based on a true story though. Fantastic show. It's on Peacock. If you haven't watched it, check it out. I'm not going to really go over it because it is something that, my rule for this is if you haven't watched within like a year of it coming out, then fuck you and your spoilers, right? You can't be mad if you hadn't watched it and it's been out for a year, right? Not everyone can wait to talk about like every show because you haven't watched it, right? But I think this has only been out for less than a year, so I'm gonna give y'all time to go watch it, and then y'all come talk to me about it. What you think about it? I love this show, though. The gist of it is essentially it's a play on America's weird and fascination of true crime, and true crime podcast, right? Mostly white suburban women, right? It's right. And so that's sort of the play of the show. I'll let you guys watch it. I just want to mention some shows that I've been watching. I love the show. Based on a true story. It's on Peacock. If you've been watching Monday Night Raw, they've been airing season 1 episode at one episode a week on USA right after Raw. Actually, that's where I learned of the show, was because 2 weeks ago, I was watching Raw. I was waiting for Nerdy D's post show on the Casual Wrestling Channel to start, and I was still had the TV on USA, and this is the show that was on, and I sort of got hooked into it for like the first 10 minutes, and then Nerdy D started, and so I turned it off, and then I went back to finish watching everything. But very good show. Very good show. Outer Banks. I want to talk about Outer Banks, but and without solely giving away spoilers. So if you haven't watched the first 3 seasons at this point, that's on you. And I'm not really going to go back into the history of it, but there may be spoilers as I talk about this certain topic, right? Now, I'm not going to mention the character because season 4 just came out, so I'll give you your time to watch it, right? But a character does die off on this show. Now, if you're on the internet and you follow pop culture, this has probably been talked about, so you probably already know who it is. And if you don't watch Outer Banks, you probably don't give a fuck, right? But a character does die off. A very well-beloved character does die off. And every time this happens in every single TV show that's ever been in existence, the same argument's made. Well, the show can't exist without this guy. Or, guys, let me tell you why they killed this person off, right? right? And this is where the will be here. Don't say I didn't warn you. That's 5 times now. This character, his entire character, he was the reckless guy who probably should be dead at the end of every episode, right? This is the only character you had to die. You could kill off. That made any sense in the story, especially if you watch the whole season as a whole and recognize that they were giving us signs that this was happening, right? The insane level of character building. Like, I picked it up on, so the way they dropped Outer Banks this season was they dropped the first half and then they dropped the second half, right? Like 2 or 3 weeks later. So in the first half of the season, this character got a lot of character development in the first 5 episodes, right? And that was foretelling what was coming at the end of the season, right? But this also gives us a reason to have a season 5, right? Because the season 5 is now revenge, right? But there was a lot of character development for this character, right? It comes to where the main sort of surprise in the first half of season 1, or season 5, excuse me, the main surprise that they dropped on us came about, right? And that surprise at the end of it, we picked it back up, ended up being the very thing that gave us the cliffhanger at the end of season 4, which was his character dying. And leads into the reason for needing the final season, which will be season 5, which is revenge. And that's all season 5 is going to be. It writes the plot itself, right? Which is what is needed. So I just wanted to mention those 2 shows. And I hate when people complain when characters get killed off, right? It's for the story, right? Now, if you kill off a character for no reason, that's fine. But there's a story behind this that I truly love. So let's get into the meat of pop culture real quick. And that is my top 10 movie series. Now, these are in no order at all, except for who I have in the number 1 spot. Because that's all I care about. Who's the best? And that's this, right? So the number 1 movie series. Now, the criteria for this. First off, I have had to watch it, right? So there may be some, and I said on Tuesday, y'all are probably going to hate my answer for this. Because there's probably 4 or 5 series that I personally have not watched. So they can't be on this list because I've never watched. That you must have 2 or more movies. So it can't be just a single movie. And really only having 2 is kind of not enough. 3 or more, you got to be a trilogy or something, right? And outside of that, it's just my personal subjective opinion. This isn't I'm not an expert at this. This is just movies that I like. So the number 1 spot, this is the only one that I have positioned in a particular order. The best movie series franchise of all time is Star Wars. You can fight me for it. I don't give a fuck. It is Star Wars. The best. It is, right? The original trilogy, for what we would now call episode 4, 5, and 6. Maybe the best trilogy that they made. The prequels aren't my favorite. Episode 3 is really good. Episode 1 and 2 are good, not my favorites. My favorite of the whole one, though, is episode 6. And I may be in the fair minority of Star Wars fans that, now when I say fan, casual fan at best, right? I'm not going to sit here and argue, what lightsaber's the best and this background character, I'm not going to sit there and argue that with you. I don't give a fuck, right? I go to the movies to enjoy a movie, right? If y'all want to go talk about that nerdy shit, y'all go talk about that nerdy shit somewhere else, right? Because there will be fans that argue over, well, this isn't canon, this isn't correct, because this book that no one fucking knows exists says that this was actually happening. Guys, shut the fuck up. You sound like fucking nerds. Anyway, Star Wars, the top movie series of all time. Now, the other 9 are in no particular order because I didn't really care about ordering them because I don't really act like I care. This is definitely a thing I wanted to get out there. These are I don't have the want to make like an actual list, right? These are my top 10 favorite movie series. Y'all put them in any order you think are right. Because here's the thing. I don't like a lot of movies, right? I'm very picky when it comes to movies, right? And so if I like you, I don't watch movies twice for the most part. So if I could sit and watch you multiple times, that means I like that movie, right? And so these are some of those series that I would be willing to watch again. So we'll just go down the list. Transformers. I know a lot of people are going to laugh about that. Transformers is a great fucking movie series. You got Megan Fox in the first two, Shia LaBeouf. You got Mark Wahlberg as part of it. You know, if you want to extend it out to the standalone Bumblebee movie, I think John Cena and Haley Steinfeld's in that one. Fantastic movie. I haven't seen the newest one that released this year though. But yeah, I Transformers. Next on then we're going to talk about Jurassic Park. Y'all are crazy if you don't like these movies. They're great. This one going to make y'all laugh a little bit, but come on now, Shrek. Shrek is a great movie trilogy. Great movie series. You can't go wrong with Shrek, dog. Can't go wrong with Shrek. This may be number 2. Like if I had to put a number 2, it may be the next one, not Shrek, but this one I'm about to mention may be it. Die Hard. And we're in the season. It's about Christmas time, right? Die Hard's a true Christmas movie, and I know that's an argument for other people. It's a Christmas movie, though. They show it during Christmas, don't they? It's a Christmas movie. Die Hard. Great series. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. The next two, just because Sylvester Stallone may be one of my favorite actors of all time, it's Rambo and Rocky. I think I would prefer Rocky over Rambo, to be honest, but both of them are fantastic movie series. Pirates of the Caribbean, fantastic. Don't touch it. Don't ruin it. Don't put anyone else as Jack Sparrow. Just leave it alone. We don't need a female Jack Sparrow. We don't need any of that shit. The 80s and 90s kids that are watching may know this. The people who were born like after like 2000, maybe like mid 2000s, may not know about this movie series and the level of fear that kids that grew up in the 80s and 90s had with this. And that's Final Destination. Yo, great movies. They just to make you not want to do some shit. Like y'all still scared to drive behind a truck that's carrying wood like a log truck. I don't know if y'all don't have those everywhere. I know, not everyone sees log trucks everywhere, but I don't drive behind them. And then the last one on the list is Indiana Jones. Right? Now let's talk about the ones that aren't on the list. And again, it's because they don't meet the criteria. Lord of the Rings, not on the list. Haven't watched it. Don't care to watch it. Don't want to watch it. Don't give a fuck. Harry Potter. I had the 7 books. You know how many times I tried to read book 1? Got about 2 chapters in and put it down like 8 times. Haven't seen a single movie. That's a lie. I've seen the first one, but I don't remember it. And it was at a babysitter's house. And that's all I remember about. No, and I know she turned it on. I don't remember paying attention to it. Right, John Wick. Never seen a single John Wick movie. Right? The MCU as a whole. I've seen maybe 2 movies in the MCU. I've seen Black Panther. I've seen Endgame. And that might be it. And I've seen the Spider-Man ones. I've seen 2 Spider-Mans with Zendaya, and I can't think of the motherfucker who plays Spider-Man's name right now. Right? But as a whole, like, I'm not, because I haven't watched the whole series, right? Like, I'm not going to put you on the list, right? But, yeah. That's why they're not there. So y'all can hate me all you want. Star Wars, Transformers, Jurassic Park, Shrek, Die Hard, Rambo, Rocky, Pirates of the Caribbean, Final Destination, and Indiana Jones are my list of the top 10 movie trilogy series, franchises, whatever you want to call them, of all time. Let's move on to something that I love the most in life, and that is food. And I had this idea the other day when I was sitting there eating lunch. I was eating Taco Bell. And I had this, I was ordering it on DoorDash to get it delivered to me. And look, DoorDash has all my money. DoorDash is the reason I'm in debt. DoorDash is fought. DoorDash, if you could pay me back the $9,000 I've spent this year on food, that'd be wonderful. Again, if someone want to drop 50 racks on me, I'll take it. You're not getting it back though. But anyway, I was sitting there eating this Taco Bell, and had this thought the other day of while I was sitting there eating it, of why does Taco Bell not have any like actual sides that come with their meals? Right. So I always get the Lux box that they advertise, right? Because it's the biggest bang for your buck, I guess. Now mine's not the $7 or whatever they advertise, because I don't eat their beef because their beef is gross. Now I've worked at Taco Bell for a day and a half before I walked out because they was on their bullshit and I wasn't dealing with it. I've seen what the inside of Taco Bells look like and how they operate. That meat is gross. But also, I've eaten Taco Bell enough to know that beef is not real beef. And there's a reason why y'all go shit every time you eat it. I swap everything out for. First off, I'm not a big beef person in the first place. I would prefer chicken. So I swap everything out for chicken, and that's like $1.50 for each item that you do that for. And so it's like a chicken gordita crunch, a chicken, instead of the 5-layer beefy burrito, mine's the 5-layer chicken burrito, and they put way too many beans on it. But anyway, you get if you've had the Lux box, you know what it is, right? And I sat here and I was like, well, I have 3 entrees, and I get the cinnamon twist because the chips typically are stale. Plus, I just want something sweet at the end of my meal, right? And so you give me 3 entrees with essentially 3 types of tacos with cinnamon twist. That's not really a meal to me, right? And I don't know if I'm the only one that feels like meals need to have a side to it. So you get like your entree, you get your side, and then maybe a dessert and a drink, right? That's just how I think of things, right? So like if you go to any other fast food restaurant, right? You go to McDonald's, you get the entree, you get the side of fries, and then you get your drink, right? And then if you want to add extra, you can get that dessert, right? Or you go to Burger King, you get the burger, you get the fries and the onion rings, or if they now have halvesies, which is great because now you can get both without having to buy both, right? You go to Chick-fil-A, you get the chicken sandwich, you get your side, you get your drink, right? Well, Taco Bell, with all their combos and everything, right? They basically, so like what I used to get growing up was the T3. Now I call it the T3 because every Taco Bell that was near me where I grew up always had a KFC in it, and so they had the number 3, which would be the KFC side, and then the T3, which would be the Taco Bell side, right? So the T3 is 3 soft taco supremes, and a hard taco was essentially like the side that made it a meal. Well, I don't eat hard shell tacos, so essentially I just got a 4th soft taco supreme, and essentially my food was 4 soft taco supremes in a Pepsi, right? That was what I got. And so I'm just sitting here like adding another entree mix. That doesn't work for me, right? So Taco Bell, Mexican fast food in general, right? Mexican fast food, because even like Chipotle, right? Chipotle doesn't have side dishes to me. You can get a bag of chips, but that's not a side dish to me, right? Side dish is something like fries or like Taco Bell. How hard would it be to have? You already have fries. Put them in the fucking meal, dude. Right? Imagine the T3, the 3 soft taco supremes, and the side of your fries with cheese, and then a drink. That's a cool meal. That's a cool meal to me. Or you could expand the menu a little bit. Mexican street corn, little Mexican street corn bites that you just throw into the fryer. You got a fryer back there. It's how you make the cinnamon twist, right? Some Mexican street corn, put it in the fryer for 2 or 3 minutes. Right? Sprinkle a little bit of the the cheese on top of it, put it in the bag, and send it out the window. That's a good side right there. Taco Bell could be creative. You can come up with some sort of, American styled Mexican like side dishes. Even if you just did like a side of rice, like how hard would it be to just have, because like if you go to a standard like American style Mexican restaurant, I get carnitas because I love carnitas. But you get the entree, the carnitas with the tortillas, right? You get a side of beans and cheese, and you get a side of rice, right? And if you don't like the beans and cheese in it, you can ask for more rice, right? But that's right. So what if Taco Bell became a little bit more, with the side dishes? Give me like a side of rice, dude, with some beans and cheese mixed in. I don't know. I'm just saying. What do y'all think about Mexican style fast foods need to have some sort of like meals, man? Like imagine like a Crunchwrap Supreme with a side of your fries, some cinnamon twists, and a Baja Blast. Sounds like the perfect meal to me, dog. Right? That's what I would do. All right, now let's get into the sports talk. Right? We got a couple topics I want to talk about here in terms of sports. The first of which is Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul is tonight on Netflix. Now, because I don't actually give two fucks about boxing, and we'll talk about that in a minute, I don't know if you have to pay for this on Netflix or if you have Netflix, you can automatically just watch it. I don't know what the deals are with it, right? I know Friday Night SmackDown's tonight. And I'm pretty certain this fight comes on after SmackDown. So I may tune in to watch this. I don't know the rules. I know I think they're using 14-ounce gloves instead of the standard gloves. I think it's like 8 2-minute rounds or something like that. So it's not like your standard fight. Let me just tell you something. I could give absolutely two fucks about this fight. I may just tune in because I know the Discord's going to be talking about it. The casual wrestling Discord, right? Because a lot of the people there seem to be more so fans of combat sports more than me, right? I'm not a big fan of boxing in itself. I just don't care. Like I'm not a big I want to see actual people beat the shit out of each other type thing, right? I'll watch MMA every now and then. Like I remember CM Punk when he got into it. I watched his two fights. I've watched I've gone to Buffalo Wild Wings to watch a Brock Lesnar fight before. Maybe it's just because I don't actually care about any of the people there to draw me there. Maybe if I started watching and had like a favorite fighter, I would only watch this just to watch the bullshit that this is. All right, so it looks like the full card starts at 8, but there's 7 matches. So yeah, Tyson and Paul will probably start around like 11. 11 Eastern. Now I'm gonna go in and what I want to talk about is two things with this fight. The first is who I think is going to win, and second, what I actually feel about this fight. So the first is Jake Paul's fucking winning this thing. Jake Paul's winning this thing, and if he doesn't, because here's the thing, I don't care about the winner because I could see a situation where Jake Paul can win and where Mike Tyson wins, right? But this thing, what I really want to talk about, this thing's scripted as a motherfucker. This thing's scripted. This is a cash grab if I've ever seen one. I could sniff out a grift from a mile away. This thing is a cash grab, and whether Mike Tyson wins or Jake Paul wins, they're both going to be winning at the end of the night when they're counting their checks and their cash all the way to the bank and laughing at all of us for putting on this match. this fight. This thing's scripted as a bitch. And who wins isn't necessarily the point, I believe, right? Because I mentioned that because someone put the article last night at the weigh-ins. Mike Tyson sort of like bitch slapped Jake Paul. It's the picture used on the thumbnail. And I said, if I needed any more proof that this whole thing was set up to be a cash grab, this was it. Right? And everyone came at me like, okay, well, who takes the dive? Now, I don't know this term because I don't care about boxing, especially boxing. Probably because growing up, boxing was just ass when I was growing up. Like, the state of boxing was ass while I was growing up. It's gotten a little bit more important thanks to the likes of Jake Paul and others. But MMA was sort of the scene when I was growing up, right? And even then, like, I could really, like, Conor stopped fighting regularly, and I stopped caring about UFC. Because Conor was my dude. Anderson Silva was my dude as well. And Chuck Liddell was my dude. And so, what the fuck is that dude's name that goes now? Y'all gonna hate this. Colby Covington. Y'all gonna hate me for saying that I like him. But I love Colby Covington. I just like his attitude, right? I just don't necessarily care enough about that sport, though, to pay attention. My whole point, though, is this. Mike Tyson needs money. I don't know if y'all know this, but, like, dude's gone, of course, 2003, I think it was, he went bankrupt. And, yeah, he's earned his money again, but he's nowhere near as rich as he was, and this dude lives, like, an extravagant lifestyle. So I'm sure when Jake Paul or his agent or someone came to him and said, hey, we got a big money fight here. Netflix wants to sponsor this and air it, and we got big money from Netflix and all this, that Mike Tyson said, hey, we'll pay you this amount. And Mike Tyson heard money and he agreed to it. Bro, boy's in his 50s, almost 60s, right? Like, he's not Iron Mike no more anymore. I'm sure in his head he thinks he's Iron Mike, but he's not. And you're going up against Jake Paul, dude. So I think Jake Paul is going to win for one of two reasons. Either A, this thing is really scripted and the contract is Jake Paul has to win, or B, he's just got better stamina and this thing is going to go all 8 rounds. So I actually don't think there's going to be, I think it's going to go down to a draw based on, and then the winner determined by, so I actually think it's going to be a draw. I think it's going to go full distance. I don't think there's going to be like a definite winner. Right? I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a split draw. And what is so I had to look up some of these terms because I had to look up yesterday, can a boxing match end in a draw first off? But it looks like there's 3 judges, right? And there's 3 different types of draws. You have a unanimous draw where all 3 judges score the fight as a tie. I don't think that's going to happen. You have what is known as a majority draw where 2 judges score the fight as a tie while the third one scores one fighter as the winner. And then you have like a split draw where one judge scores one fighter as the winner, another judge scores the other fighter as the winner, and the third one judges it as a draw. And that's what I think we're going to get. I think we're going to get a split draw in this match because the winner is not important. It's the fact that these 2 are about to make money. And that's all this is. This is a cash grab. And so everyone else on the card is going to get their money too. Right? But those are going to be the legitimate fights, right? And so that's what the Paul brothers, I think, have done to the sport of martial arts or combat fighting in general, right? Is they have the name, right? So it's sort of like what Vince McMahon did to pro wrestling, right? Vince McMahon had the name recognition to that pushed it into TV markets and got TV deals, and because of that, everyone else benefited, right? So what the Pauls did is Jake Paul came. Now Jake Paul's taken fighting more serious than Logan did in terms of like actual combat fighting, and Jake Paul can go, but in my opinion, like the only thing he offers to this, only thing this card offers is name recognition that benefits the other 6 matches on the card that are actual bouts. But the main event is the big thing people are going to tune in for. Like I bet Netflix sees a big stream of influx of streaming once it is said that Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. That's the only match I care about. So I'm going to watch SmackDown tonight. And I'm going to turn it, right? And I'm going to pay attention to the Discord. And the Discord's probably going to tell me, hey, Paul and Logan are on. Or Paul and Tyson are on right now. And then that's when I'll turn over the Netflix. Right? But I don't care about the other 6 fights. All I care about is this. Right? And Netflix, with it being on Netflix, I'm certain there's a specific already amount of money determined that are going to go to the fighters, and Netflix wants to get a certain amount of money as well, right? And that's all this is. This is a cash grab. That's all I see it as. That's all I think it will ever go down in history as being. If there is a winner, it would not surprise me, because I don't think Jake Paul is the kind of guy that cares about losing to Mike Tyson. It's a lose-lose for Jake Paul anyway, because here's what happens. If he loses, he lost to the old guy, right? You're not going to get the benefit of that if I lost to Mike Tyson. No, you lost to the old 50-year-old. But if he beats him, you beat Mike Tyson when he was in his 50s, right? So it's a lose-lose for him. That's why I believe it will be a draw. I think it's, hey, we're just going to come out here. We're going to put on an experience, right? And I need you to pull your punches a little bit, right? We're going to sell this as you're going to be Iron Mike, but I need you to pull your punches. Don't hit me as hard. Right? And maybe we get a knockout. Who knows? I don't necessarily think Jake Paul is the type of guy that cares about wins and losses. I mean, he is 10-1 right now, which is great. But he fights guys that he sort of picked, right? Like his first actual boxing match was against a YouTuber, against KSI's brother, right? And then he took it a little bit more serious, and this just feels like a little bit more of a script thing to me to get money. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, right? I'm not an expert at this, but I feel like I've sniffed this grift out since July when they announced it, right? Let's move on. Me and Wavy D had a conversation the other day that sparked me into just wanting to mention this a little bit, and that is the idea of NFL broadcasting rights, right? He was talking about how he wanted to watch the Cowboys, Eagles, and he couldn't in his area, and he was talking about like Sunday Ticket and all of that, right? Now, Sunday Ticket's far from perfect, but the pricing is fine. There is a monthly pricing you can pay for, I believe, if you have YouTube TV. You can get the monthly pricing instead of the pay at one time pricing, but YouTube TV runs you about $80 a month anyway, plus the Sunday Ticket. But the whole idea, though, is it's not going to change because NFL makes way too much money from this, and they don't have to produce nearly as much of it, right? Is NBA League Pass better of a deal? Probably. But we're talking money here, right? So NFL, in terms of their broadcasting rights, you got ESPN, I think, that gets Monday nights. NBC, they get Sunday nights. Amazon, they get Thursday nights. CBS and Fox get Sunday day games and afternoon games. And you just have to deal with their sort of it's the individual companies. So the reason Wavy D couldn't get the Eagles, they were the national game, but the Jets and the Cardinals were on at the same time. So the Jets, so New York and Connecticut got the Jets game and not the Eagles game. It's just location, right? Because it happens to me all the time as a Patriots fan. I always get the Panther games if the Panthers are on, and if the Panthers aren't on, it's either the Falcons, the Saints, the Commanders, maybe the Titans. The Bengals, for some weird odd reason, are very popular on local channels here. Right, and so you just have to make sure it's all about positioning of who's playing at the time your team is playing and the broadcasting chart. So the only thing I would recommend is go check out the broadcasting. You can check out who your broadcaster. That's what I like to check up is, because I will not watch a game if Charles Davis is watching or broadcasting the Patriots. I won't watch the game, or if I watch it, it's on mute because Charles Davis is mad annoying. But like I'll pull it up for you here. Of what I look at. So Dallas, Houston's Monday night. Cincinnati and the Chargers are Sunday night. And, of course, last night was Washington and Philly. But you go to, like, the CBS early games, and it appears the national game is going to be Pittsburgh versus Baltimore. And then that's going to be the national game. So everyone that doesn't have a game in their area will get that game. Indianapolis and the Jets, right? So those areas are strictly Indianapolis and the Jets, right? And I can pull up the map here of like what this looks like. And so for CBS, let me pull up a map real quick. Right. So if y'all can see this, the red is the national game. That's Baltimore and Pittsburgh. But you see the green here, Jets, Indianapolis, right? Tennessee and Minnesota are the yellow, right? Blues, Jacksonville and Detroit. You get Vegas and Miami down here, right? You scroll down, you see that. So, like, cool. Charles Davis is, I'm not watching Pittsburgh and Baltimore then, right? Because, that's the game. I just don't like Charles Davis' voice, right? If I could scroll down, if this thing could load, you got the NBC late games. The maps are going to look a little bit. Dude, that's still the early game. I don't know why it's Kansas City and Buffalo. It's nationally televised. So now we'll scroll down to Fox, right? And you notice their map's a little different because their broadcasting area is different, right? Red's typically the national game, so that's Green Bay and Chicago. But you notice, Seattle and San Francisco's the blue, right? The Patriots and the Rams are the yellow. Cleveland, and you notice it's like regional. So like if Cleveland, all of Cleveland and the surrounding areas are going to get Cleveland versus the Saints, and same with New Orleans and around New Orleans, right? Atlanta, Denver, you see what I'm saying? So that's what you have. You can't really blame the NFL for that. That's solely on the networks and how they come up with their maps. next thing I want to talk about is the college football system, right? Just an idea that I had, and I want to talk about it a little bit. So Premier League soccer in England, they have this thing called regulation and promotion. Basically, a certain amount of, I think it's the worst 3 teams in the Premier League get sit down to like Division 2, and then the best 3 teams get sent up. I believe it's how they run it there. I don't, right? So my idea is like, let's run this with college football. Run this with college football, and I think that'd be cool. So there's 10 FBS, 10 FBS conferences. So you got the American, or the AAC, the ACC, the Big 12, the Big 10, CUSA, the MAC, the Mountain West, the Pac-12, the SEC, the Sun Belt. You get 3 independent teams. In order for this to work, those will have to go join a conference. Very easy to do that. You have Notre Dame join the Big 10 or the ACC. They're already in the ACC for every other sport, but this is only a football system that we would run, so they could join the Big 10, and that'd be fine. And then you have UConn and UMass join either the Atlantic, which would put them in a better like regional matchups, put them in the Atlantic, or the Mid-Atlantic, or excuse me, the American or the Mid-Atlantic conference, right? And so what you would do is you would then pair. So we have the Power 5 conferences. That's the ACC, Big 12, Big 10, SEC, and Pac-12, and what we call the Group of 5 colleges, the lower level, the American, the MAC, the Mid-Atlantic, the CUSA, the Mountain West, and the Sun Belt. And so you just pair a Group of 5 with a Power 5. So you would pair the Sun Belt with the SEC, the Mountain West with the Pac-12, then Mid-Atlantic with the Big 10, the CUSA with the Big 12, and the American with the ACC. I've thought this out, right? And we're going to run through an example of what I'm talking about. So we're going to do the ACC and the AAC, the American, right? So the worst, now I would do 2 teams, not 3. The worst 2 teams in the ACC, which this year would be Stanford and Florida State, would be regulated or sent down to the American Conference, and the best 2 teams in the American will be sent up to the ACC. So that would be Army and Tulane. Now, we would do this over conference record, not overall record. So some rules need to be put in place here to do this. Every conference, we need to run 9 conference games. Because some run 9 now, some run 8. I think even some run 7. But every conference, we need to run 9 conference games, and then you would judge strictly on conference record. Right? So imagine a world where Florida State and Stanford no longer get big money from the ACC, but now they go to the Atlantic, where Army and Tulane will join the ACC, and then at the end of each year, the worst 2 teams get sent down, the best 2 teams in the lower division get sent up. We could have a completely different ACC in 2, 3, 4 years, right? And so that's sort of my example. I want to know what you guys think about that idea. Yeah, I think that's a cool idea. That's something that I wish college football may. So it works better, and because I saw it from a video game guy named Boudreaux, who does crazy creative content with Madden and NCAA 25. But I think that he did that idea, and I think I wonder if it'll work in actual real life. Let me know what you guys think. It's been a little bit of a long episode, don't you think? Like I said, first time doing this format, so I do want to, we're going to flesh this out a little bit. But we're going to end every single episode with my NFL picks. Now, we're not going to pick Thursday night games because we're recording this on Friday. But if you do notice, on Tuesday I did predict the Eagles and was right. What I'm going to do, I'm literally just going to predict every single game. I'm going to go along with I'm in a Yahoo League thing where we do pick'ems. So I'm just going to go along with and make my picks now for that here, and that's what this is. So we're going to go along with every single game. So we got Packers in Chicago to take on the Bears. I'm picking the Packers. We got Jacksonville at Detroit. That's easy, the Lions. Minnesota in Tennessee. This is going to be one of those odd picks, but I'm picking the Titans on that one. I am. Las Vegas at Miami. It's going to be Miami. The Rams versus the Patriots. I don't ever pick my team to win in these things unless it's like a clear chance that we'll actually win. I think we lose to the Rams. Browns versus the Saints. I'm picking the Browns. I think Winston's gonna pull this one off. Colts at the Jets. I'm picking the Colts. I just don't trust the Jets to do anything. Baltimore at Pittsburgh, maybe the best game of the week. I'm picking Pittsburgh. Russ gonna cook again. Atlanta versus Denver. I'm picking Atlanta. Seattle at San Francisco. I'm picking the Niners. Chiefs at the Bills. I'm picking the Chiefs, dog. Cincy at the Chargers. Sunday Night Football. I'm picking the Bengals. And then Monday Night Football, Texans versus Cowboys in Dallas. And guys, I know Dak's out, but no, I'm kidding with you. Fuck that. Texans. Texans are going to win all day, every single day. All right, that's my picks. That's how we're going to end it. Thank y'all for listening to this episode of the Slapping Me Wrestling Podcast. Let me know what y'all think of this new format. And until next Tuesday, I'll see you on another one. Have a great rest of your week and good weekend.
So hit that subscribe, come along for the ride. AEW, WWE, we're always on side. From fantasy booking to baddies that slay. Slapping me wrestling every Tuesday.